What's happening, YouTubers? It's your boy CB, and it is that time of the week again. We are back for another huddle watch along with a recruit. On today's episode, I have a treat for you guys, especially you guys that like quarterback play like me. One of the smoothest quarterbacks you will see, regardless of class. Arm talent out the wazoo, young quarterback, but has that maturity about him, that wiseness beyond his years. And let me go back to my first statement. One of the smoothest deliveries you will see from a quarterback. 2026 four-star quarterback from American Heritage, Dia Bell. Welcome to the show, Brody.
Appreciate you having me.
So we're going to get straight into it because we were talking a little bit beforehand. But before we get into some of the craziness that has been your season, let the listeners know, how's this sophomore season been for you and your guys over at Heritage?
It's been great for me. It's been a great learning experience for me. Honestly, my first year starting, so I mean, I've always learned from the guys in front of me, but for me and the others who hadn't started yet, it's been a ride, to say the least. But we still got a whole playoff season to work with, so we just getting started.
That's something that we talked about previously too. Is relative to a lot of the teams you play, you guys are known as a powerhouse. You don't really have to be from South Florida to, when they say American Heritage, you probably either know of it or know someone who went there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But relative to a lot of the other teams that people talk about with you guys, you hear, Central, you hear Chaminade. You guys are relatively young compared to a lot of those teams. What is that like, being in a locker room with a lot of guys that are 2026, growing together as y'all continue a historic legacy at American Heritage?
Yeah, we like you said, we have a very young group offensively, and it's been great knowing those guys and growing with those guys. But we just because we're young doesn't mean we don't got talent. Like
Yes, sir.
our talent level is through the roof, and we just got to make it what we can't make out of it, because we could be whoever we want to be. We could be the greatest team, or we can be the people that was great but or should have been better. But we just gonna make the best out of it, and we gonna keep growing together.
And to that growth and to that skill position that these guys you have around you, before we get into the receivers, because I know people listening are going to go, Malachi Tony. It's not, he got three or four of them. It's not just Tony in the backfield, bro. You have one of the best backfields I think a high school football team has ever seen. Can you talk about what it's like to have those guys behind you and just having that safety blanket? Because those guys they're so versatile. Each one of them are dynamic on the ground, and you use them through the air as well. Go ahead and give a shout out to them guys that be toting the rock for you.
For sure, our running back, we call it the three-head monster, and
Monster.
and it's been that, like, for us the whole year. We've been able to, when we do spread the field out, when we throw the ball around a little bit and they get light in the box, we're able to take advantage of the box with our little three-headed monster we have in Byron Luis, DeAndre Desenor, and Chance Washington. So that's always been a good factor for us. We've been able to be pretty balanced on offense, so we've been able to do kind of whatever we want.
Is Desenor the fastest on the team?
No.
All right. Who's faster than him?
Zamari. According to track times, Zamari Sanders and Brandon Bennett are our two fastest players, and then we have a senior on defense that our corner is one of the faster guys too.
What are they feeding y'all? How does that make any sense? I was expecting you to say nobody, because that boy ran what was it, like a 99-yard touchdown back in the previous game, untouched.
Yeah.
As a return. And it wasn't like, I'm not saying the play was not blocked perfectly, but it wasn't like a play where the wedge was there, so he just ran. Bro just outran everybody. I'm talking about people taking good angles, got smoked. So to hear that you got three people on the team that can run with him is insane.
He ran from what I heard, he ran a 10.6, but I know two of my wide receivers, one ran a 10.4 and the other ran a 10.2.
So I was gonna ask you what's your favorite route to throw, but it's the go ball, isn't it?
Well, obviously, when you get the opportunity, when you have backside one-on-one, you're obviously gonna take that shot when you can. Yeah. when
So when you have these this variety of weapons you have, not just outside, but you've got them in the backfield too. What is it like being the orchestrator of that offense, being the point guard of an offense like that?
um honestly it takes a lot of responsibility because you have a lot of great talent out there. You got to make sure everything kind of gels together and works together, and there's not conflicting, like, how would you say, personalities. There's obviously
Yep.
conflicting personalities, but you don't want anything to go kind of sideways with your groups. So you just got to make sure everything gels the way it's supposed to be, and everybody like does what they have to do out there.
So I'm gonna ask you a question you get asked 100 times, but I'm gonna try to ask it in a different way.
Mm.
So you come from an athletic background. You come from an athletic family. Your father played in the league. He was a basketball player. If you don't know who Rajah Bell is, when I say it, you're gonna go, "Oh wait, that's his son." Yes, this is the Rajah Bell's son. But I don't want. I'm sure you get asked a lot what kind of pressure that puts on you. We all deal with pressure. I'm sure you were born dealing with pressure. I want to ask you a different question about that. How is growing up in a household with someone that has accomplished a goal like that, similar to the goal you want to accomplish getting to the NFL? How has that motivated you and helped you along your journey? Because you're going to put more pressure on yourself than anybody will. Your father, your coaches, you're going to be your own hardest critic. But it's someone in your house that can show you not necessarily how to get to your goal, but you can look at pops and go, okay, goal, like dreams are achievable. Like your dad accomplished his dream.
Oh
Like
yeah,
no ands or buts about it. And everyone doesn't get that chance. So the question I have for you is how has that motivated you and allowed you to kind of map out your journey and who you want to be as an athlete?
no, it's always been he's always been someone I look up to. Honestly, just the work ethic that he had to kind of put in and day out to get where he wanted to go from growing up in Southern Miami, going to Killian, not going to as great as a college as he probably wanted to. He went to Boston University, then transferred to FIU, went undrafted, but still found a way to work himself back into CBA, and then got picked up by the Sixers. But like just the work ethic you see throughout his career, I've been able to look up and kind of model my work ethic after him, and also my mom when she played soccer at FIU as well. But coming from New York, it was kind of a long way.
Hey,
She was like all conference and stuff. So like being able to look up to both of them and kind of take work ethic and just learn a bunch of different stuff like about how to talk to media or how to carry yourself around others, adults, and just coaches and stuff like that. It's always been something I've been able to take away from them and grow from.
you feel like that's why quarterback was a good fit for you, or why it feels so natural, why being a leader just came natural to you because you've grown up around examples of how to conduct yourself. So when you walked into a locker room like this year, first year starting at Heritage, sophomore, but you know what it takes and you know the dedication and the work it takes to lead a locker room because you've got people at home that have done it. You feel like that's why what attracted you to quarterback?
Um, I feel like when I was younger, I was always the youngest on my team because I always played up. But I mean, being able to like kind of be out there with older guys would also like help me, especially when at a young age when you're playing up. You honestly don't know if you have the kind of authority to lead.
Yeah, to speak up.
But coming up through like high school and stuff, you're able to kind of navigate through those little holes that you don't know if you're allowed to do this or that, and I've just kind of grown through that, and it's helped me be the leader I am today on this offense.
So to those leadership qualities, you play on one of the baddest 7-on-7 teams in the country, not just in Florida, in the country. How much has 7-on-7 helped you as a quarterback preparing for this sophomore season? I know the game doesn't translate exactly, right? Because it's 7-on-7. There's not live bullets flying at you, but there are lessons you learn from it. Getting the ball out quick, being accurate, making sure you can hit guys in stride. How much is playing on a dominant team like SFE, surrounded by a bunch of other dogs, brought out the dog in you more and prepared you for this season?
No, for sure. 7-on-7 is always some quarterbacks are able to take advantage of in the off season because they don't have live action thrown at them every other day. It's like 7-on-7 is kind of live action for us in our mental because we're able to see
Yeah.
defenses and know what works against certain coverages and what you kind of like throwing against certain coverages. But being able to do that as a quarterback and have your mental part of you like behind you, like kind of ready for that season, is always a step ahead for a quarterback.
And then you come to the line with that crop of receivers that y'all have over there. I would imagine you just be having a field day. As a quarterback, it's got to be you have the same situation at Heritage where when they call a play, you got 3 4 guys that you know could probably break one. But what is it like throwing to these kind of elite guys at such a young age?
It's always great to have great playmakers around you. We call them at Harris. We call them superheroes. My quarterback coach always tells me,
It
"Get the
it
ball in
makes
your."
sense.
Yeah, he says get the ball in your superheroes hands and let them do the work for you. So my job is
I love
to
that.
be back there and deal the ball out to the superheroes and let them do the rest of the work.
I absolutely love that analogy, and you do see that. You see a lot of your ball placement is very not just throwing guys open, but it's a lot of allowing them to make plays after the catch. So you're one of the busiest recruits in the nation. Like I don't know if anyone has more frequent flyer miles than Diabell, but one of the schools that you have been to recently is Miami, and you were there at the A&M game. We spoke after the A&M game. What have been your impressions of that school? Because there's someone that have been recruiting you heavily, and obviously you've been on campus a few times. What are some of your impressions of the program and your first impression of Mario Cristobal?
Oh, my grandpa and Mario go way back, but what Mario's bringing back to Miami is what they've always done in the past and keep kids home and they're taking the step in the right direction and improving this football team. And like you said, they come out there, they beat Texas A&M, like a really good school, and they've continued to play well throughout the season. And being around Coach Mario and Coach Dawson is always great to build that kind of relationship. I always had some sort of built-in relationship with Coach Cristobal because my grandpa worked in the office with him back when it was Miami, like
Hey,
too early. So when I met him for the first time, I kind of had already some sort of built-in relation, but that relationship has only grown the more and more I've went back, and that football team is only going to get better as time goes on.
and Coach Dawson, obviously he got hired later in the spring. Have you had a lot of time to sit down and talk with him?
Yeah, I call him because they're not allowed to call me because since I'm an underclassman, but we set a certain day of the week, either whether it be Sunday or Thursday, that I we make sure we get on the phone. We talk about our weeks. We talk about my game plan, his game plan for our games, and we just kind of build our relationship. But every time I get a chance, I make sure I get down there for a game and I see him before and after the games, and that's always a great time with him. And being able to speak with him, coming from Houston, a good offense with the Tank Dells of the world, and that kind of explosive offense that he brings to Miami now is something I definitely see myself like being able to fit into. So it's always good being able to talk to him about that.
It seems like what he wants in a quarterback, what he looks for in a quarterback, is a lot of what you do. Getting the ball out of your hand quick, being accurate, good decision making. But then you saw it at Houston, that dual threat ability that he did like with his quarterbacks too. So when you watch your game and when you watch your offense at Heritage, you can see, okay, like this directly translates. And for those of y'all that have not seen his tape and wondering what is CB talking about, I'm gonna show you. So this, I think, is the first throw here. Is a great example of you trusting your playmakers here. Play action, putting this ball where, first off, not many people can go get it. But you had that confidence to know that if I put this ball high and on the outside, he's going to make a play. Speak to that confidence you have in your receiver on a ball like this because you did not flinch throwing this ball. You knew he was going to make a play.
No, for sure, and I that's one thing I was able to kind of grow with as well as my confidence in my guys and making certain type of catches. And we worked this in practice, and I know that Zamari is one of the fastest guys out there, but not all the time is he going to be able to beat over everyone over the top since there's safety help. But I know Zamari could go up and make plays like that, so I put it where only he could go up and get it, and he went up and got it for sure.
That trust between a quarterback and a receiver is everything. And then obviously he rewards you with it. The ball placement here, making sure you protect him as well too, because you got the safety driving down on him. He doesn't take a big shot, big play, first down. That ball placement is absolutely insane. So on the run here is another aspect of your game that is very very crisp. It reminds me a lot of Bryce Young, a lot of Caleb Williams with the off balance. How much do you enjoy getting outside of the pocket and just creating like this?
Well, it's always a plus to be able to get outside that pocket and extend plays when there isn't really one that, or when one breaks down, you're able to get outside and kind of create your own play with it. And I try and do my best to keep my eyes downfield and make plays before I have to use my feet and go get what I could get. But it's always something I've been able to use throughout my football career, and I continue to use it as much as needed throughout the season.
How much do you enjoy rolling out to your left? It seems like there's only a few quarterbacks that are as accurate doing this. You're going to hear me say this name a lot because a lot of times when you are on the run, it gives me Caleb Williams vibes.
Mhm.
This play here screams Caleb Williams. How much do you enjoy just the different arm angles? It seems like you are having fun out there when you get outside of the pocket and create, and then dropping an absolute dime on the sideline.
I mean, it's always something like I take away from. I mean, obviously, as a football player, you watch college football, you watch NFL, you watch the type of arm slots quarterbacks use nowadays, and the way it's kind of evolved with the movement in the pocket, and like the Caleb Williams, you say the extension of plays, and it's something you try and model your game after. So like every time you get a chance, you get outside, you kind of try and model it. If you have a net or anything you throw into, just go through motions and kind of envision a game in your head, a game situation, and you just work on it and you find what's most comfortable for you and whatever works for you, and you go out and you do it.
Is there a specific quarterback that you'd like to watch to draw inspiration from when you are working on your game or trying to add something new to your game?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a couple honestly. If you're talking about NFL, you talk about the Patrick Mahomes, you talk about the Joe Burrows, sometimes the Josh Allens. But you go to college, you got Caleb Williams, you got Jaden Daniels, who I like them out of my game after. You got now Bryce Young was I always like watching his college highlights and taking stuff away from that. But now he's in the NFL too now. But um, guys like those, Michael Penix Jr. now. He was my camp counselor. I take so much away from him. That's my that's my guy. I went to a Manning Passing Academy and he was my counselor. So I always stayed in contact with him, and I've watched him transfer from Indiana, go to Washington, and look where he's at now. Um,
Absolutely lighten up college football.
yeah, and you just love to see it. And like as a quarterback, you take away from those guys that are older than you. You look up to them and you model your game kind of after them. You take stuff away and make it your own.
And then what I like about the different aspects of your game, if it makes any sense, you're a very versatile quarterback. You hear versatile running backs and receivers, but so we see Dia rolling to his left, rolling to his right. We see him when the play breaks down, being a playmaker and being able to create. But then if bro had no wheels at all, could kill you from inside of the pocket. This ball here, it felt like, and this is why I thought you had played baseball before. This ball seems like my dad would call it when a pitcher throws a heavy ball, where it feels like it speeds up late and it hits the mitt very heavy. You can see the shock in his hands from when this ball hits his hands. This is a absolute laser, and it's pinpoint accurate. Do you have a favorite? If you had a choice, if you could script up a perfect play for you, is it sitting in the pocket and dropping a dime like this play here, or is it rolling out to your right or to your left, creating and then dropping a dime?
I feel like as a quarterback, you obviously like to be able to sit back there and have all the time in the world and just pick apart defenses. But I know that I'm able to make plays on the move as well. So I mean, obviously, you pick being able to sit back there and pick it apart. But if you have to put me in a position where I need to move and make a play, I'm gonna do my best to do that, and that's what I try and do.
And then on a play like this, for someone who, like you said, first year starting for Heritage, under pressure, extremely poised, extremely calm. So you understood here that you got to release this ball earlier than you want to. And you know that. You throw this ball off your back foot. I have no idea how you got it there this accurate. But what's more important here is the poise and the calmness under pressure. Has that always been something that's just been natural for you to be calm and cool and collected under pressure?
I mean, I feel that when I was younger and I played little league football, I always played both sides of the field, so I'm not really afraid of contact. I played outside linebacker, DN, safety, you name it, you name
What?
it, you name it. I kind of played it, so I kind of know how defenses work, from a defensive perspective. But I'm not really afraid of contact. When you see pressure, like you try, like for me, I make sure that I don't try and rush anything. I know that I have a little bit more time because they're gonna probably take a little like choppy step before they come up and hit you because they might not
Yep.
try and miss you. So I try and make sure that I'm as calm as possible before I have to make myself move. And I try and make sure I get that ball out before they get close enough. But sometimes they're not able to, and you just got to deliver it when it's needed.
This is the play. This is the play that we were talking about. All
Uh-huh.
right. So when I watched this play initially, I had that coach on the sideline reaction where I was like, no, 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 no. And then I had to realize, hold on, this is his highlights. He's not going to put something bad on here. But how much does your offensive coordinator do the no, no, no? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Because you see, this is everything you ask a quarterback never to do. But again, you see the rush, you're going to step up through the rush, find yourself a lane, not going to take off yet, keeping my eyes downfield. You see your receiver break inside, and without hesitation, completely off balance, an absolute dime, very Bryce Young. How much does your offensive coordinator pull his hair out and then go, all right, cool, cool, cool?
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm not over there. But I'm because my dad tells me after the games he does the same thing. So I definitely know they do it. So
But on a play like this, though, this is exactly what you were explaining before. You can even see when you get to the line, you start chopping your feet because you realize, hold on, I have another second here. Like I have another split second where, oh, he's open. I can hit him there. It almost seems like when plays break down, the game starts slowing down for you a bit. When do you feel like that really started happening for you? When the game started slowing down and it felt like almost you could manipulate what's happening on a football field faster than the defense can stop you.
I feel like I ever since like little league football, I mean, I was always like my coach realized that I had legs to work with, and I was always a running quarterback, so they like to put me on the move a lot, and I felt like when I'm on the move, I have so much manipulation over the defense because either they got to come up and get me, or they got to get back and guard
Yep.
whoever's behind them. And I know that if they come up and get me, I know my superheroes are gonna
Your
go score.
superheroes.
And but I know in the back of my head that if if you guys are just gonna give me 15 yards, I'm gonna go get 15
You go
yards.
every
So
time.
I just feel like that being able to be on the move throughout little league and stuff like that has always been a kind of factor that gives me that sort of like calmness and on the move and stuff like that.
You see this again here. A lot of when you hear the term dual threat, it's almost sometimes used negatively about a quarterback because then you think, oh, he's a guy that runs. But you see, your first option really isn't ever to take off. You do take that second and third look, like, okay, now I found somebody here. How much do you guys work on this scramble drill? Because it's something that I feel like you guys excel at so much. It's almost like once you break the pocket, your superheroes out there at receiver know what you're thinking. How much is that just the work you guys put in?
It's probably most of it, because I mean, honestly, there's no way for them to be able to read my mind unless we've worked together so much to the point where they know what I'm looking for and I know what they're going to do when stuff breaks down. And like when you saw in that last play when I had stepped up and stepped out, you see how the when my movement could create people coming down, which leaves them open. So they kind of know that once I start to get on the move, they got to kind of move with me so that I could see them in the same lane as me having to run, so I don't miss them. But I got to do my best to, even if they're not in my lane, to be able to see them to the best of my ability before I have to take off and go. But yeah, the amount of work we put in has is always shown in those type of plays.
This again, you get one on one. You really do see these dudes as superheroes, and they perform as superheroes. Because when you get one on one, you don't think twice. There is no if, ands, or but. You see one on one, and you go, "Oh, that's my guy all day long." How excited do you get when you see someone with the courage to play one of your receivers bump and run one on one like that?
Um, Me and my wide receivers kind of take it as disrespect, and
I
I'm
love
not.
that.
We do, because like you think we think they think that they could guard my guys with one guy, and it can't, with the type of speed and the type of like catching ability and route running that our wide receivers have. I don't think that's possible.
I don't
And
think so either.
it just, well, every time you get a chance like that, if it's first or second down and I see one on one, I'm taking that shot.
So something I did want to ask you is being a quarterback of an explosive offense like this and being the general really that innate leadership from a guy that still a sophomore, is that something that's been a part of your game since like when you were in little league, when you played baseball? Have you always kind of grown to be the leader of whatever team you're playing on, or is that something you had to grow into being?
I felt like it's kind of a mixture of both. I mean, because I'm not really loud. I'm not a rah rah type of guy. I kind of like to lead by example. But obviously, as a quarterback, you have to be more vocal. So that's something I kind of have to grow into, and I'm still growing into currently. But the leadership role, I mean, I've always kind of understood it because my dad always kind of taught me about it, and my mom always taught me about it, and it's always, I always kind of understood that with a position like I play, they all kind of look towards you, your body
Yep.
language, the way you're talking, like mood you kind of set, like they all kind of go based off of you, and I have to make sure that I'm acting the way I'm supposed to be acting, I'm playing the way I'm supposed to be playing, and I'm holding myself up to a certain standard, so they start holding themselves up to their certain standards, so we can all play to the best of our abilities. But
There's
yeah,
also that idea that if y'all are down, or if y'all are facing adversity, and they look over at three, and three is like, "We got this," they're gonna be like, "Oh, I think we good. If three good, we good." They gonna look towards you. Obviously, surrounded by the superheroes, but Nick Fury had to run the Avengers. Somebody gotta somebody gotta rein all this in. So the
yeah,
reason I
and
pause this, oh, I gotta hear your response to that too. Because being a leader too, you say you're not as vocal, right? But do you find where there's times when it's like I gotta step out of my shell and I have to be vocal?
no, yeah, for sure. I mean, when people, not always like, not just because when people act out of character, or just sometimes you need to snap on people, and not in a
Yeah.
bad way, but like just to kind of wake them up. Because some days,
Yep.
like some guys are in moods, and like they need to, because they're not playing the way they should be playing because they're in some sort of mood, and you got to be able to kind of jump on them and kind of wake them up, and then they got to think about, yeah, well, maybe I need to turn up a little bit. I need to lock in, and that's just something I've had to hop out of my shell and be able to do throughout this season, um, and kind of understand how to do that better, so that we could all play and be the best we could possibly be.
So we see you here scrambling here, getting back to those old little league roots of running quarterback, but we see you slide here. And we talked a little bit beforehand. So there was a game where I'm watching you, you took a couple of big hits. How much as a quarterback do you have to start to realize that, all right, it's not me sliding because I want to give up. I just have to make the smart decision here to protect myself. Because there's that dog in you, right? That's like, oh, 2 more yards. I'm going to get the 2 more yards. But the squad need three. Like I said, the Avengers need Nick Fury.
Yeah, but it all depends on the situation, really. I mean, like if
True.
it's say it's second down. I don't necessarily need the extra 2 yards. We still have a whole extra play to get it. I just need to get what I can get and stay safe for the rest of the game and for the rest of the season, really. But if it push comes to shove and we need two to 3 more yards, I gotta be that guy and I need to go get it. But I I haven't been in
I
a
love that
situation.
dog mentality for quarterback.
Yeah, I haven't really had to been in a situation where I had to need to go get those 2 yards besides one game really. But when I have to, I will.
So a lot of what you talked about with your teammates, it sounds like accountability to the highest tier. It sounds like you as a quarterback, you understand that it's my job not just to facilitate the football, but to hold everyone else in the huddle accountable too. When you see somebody that needs a pick me up or needs a talking to, you can go over there and do that. Is that something your coach preaches throughout American Heritage? That brotherhood, that accountability, where you can go to one of your boys and go, "Hey, bro, what's on your mind, dog? Step it up. We in we in halfway through the first quarter. It's time to turn up, bro."
Yeah, I mean, being at a school like American Heritage, always like there's a certain standard that like we have to live up to as players, as our coaches have to live up to as coaches, and we perform to that sort of standard and level of football that we've produced throughout its generations of American
Yeah.
Heritage. So like our Coach Mike Smith has done a great job of kind of helping me like become that sort of vocal leader, like giving me the confidence to go out there and know that I kind of run. I got to be able to run this, and I got to be able to kind of dictate certain stuff, but not like overrule everybody, but like
Yeah.
be able to
You still
be
got to do it in your way.
yeah. You got to be out there and you got to be able to lead, but you got to be able to lead comfortably. And like obviously you got to take steps out of your shell, like I said before, in certain moments. But like you got to be able to do what you have to do on and off the field and through your own kind of personality.
And that helps you in life too. That accountability, that ability to look at yourself and say, I need a little bit more from myself too in this moment. Like, all right, defensive tackle got his head down because he just missed a tackle. I know this ain't my thing to do, but maybe it's time to step out my zone and go ahead and lift him up because we're gonna need him on third and short.
Oh
So
yeah,
let me go ahead and step out of my shell. You also mentioned a few coaches, your quarterback coach that you work with, your offensive coordinator. Give a shout out to some of those guys that have helped you along your journey become the quarterback that we see on film shredding defenses.
yeah, for sure. I have two kind of separate quarterback coaches outside of school, and I got a quarterback coach inside of school. So shout out to Coach Deshaun Curse at
Let's
American
go.
Heritage. Shout out to Oliver Bozeman, and shout out to James Brady up in Long Island, New York, where my mom's family's from. But the two from down here, they kind of actually kind of worked together before. So the one funny story,
Nice.
my quarterback coach at American Heritage right now was trained by Bozeman when he
Really?
when he was growing up. So he kind of knew me from back when I was super young. And so he,
What?
he graduated college. And, Bozeman kind of told me that he was looking for a spot to be a quarterback coach. And I'm like, we don't have a quarterback coach. We just kind of have an OC that helps with quarterbacks. So I'm like, right here.
Come on.
So yeah, those three guys are great guys. They've helped me. They've made me who I am right now, and the outside of football, they've helped me be the person I am today as well. And shout out to Coach Mike Smith, uh, Coach CB, and all the coaches at American Heritage for helping me grow as a player and as a school student. And as a person, 'cause I've been there for a while now. I've been there since 6th grade, so I'm going on my 5th year there. So
Oof.
I've
So
grown.
it's home at this point.
Yeah, I've grown. I've learned. I've grown so much with those coaches, and it's just something that I really appreciate. That I hope they know that I appreciate.
That relationship building, that comfortability, is that something that when you look at other schools that are recruiting you, are you looking at the staff for to look, obviously you're not going to find your same guy. He's one of one.
Yeah.
But you now know what kind of coach you're looking for. Is that something that you factor in when a school is interested in you? You're trying to figure out, okay, am I not just do I fit the offensive scheme, but who's going to be in my ear here as well?
No, yeah, for sure. There's some you take a lot of accountability when you're talking to schools and when you're trying to pick schools. I mean, you take an accountability to offense they run, the quarterback uh, production, um, the coaches, like you just said, the coaches that you'll be working with. Do you have a good relationship with them? Do you have a great relationship with them? Do you feel like that's somewhere you'll be able to stick out if you have to 4 years to maybe
Yep.
5 years if you redshirt freshman. Uh, and yeah, like, and is it? Do you need to be close to home? Do you need? Are you like being far away? Like, there's a lot
There's
of
all those things.
but I do my best wherever I go to kind of dig into those little nicks and crannies, like to figure out if this is a place that I would call home compared to
And
where I.
that's really what it is. It's a home, like you said, for 3 to 4, 3 to 5 years, depending on what your journey there looks like. So something I love to ask recruits, and I have to ask you this before I let you go. Do you remember your first offer? Like your first offer? What
Yeah,
was take us back to that moment, that very first one?
I had just got out of a 7-on-7 tournament actually. I was in the car with my dad, and my first offer was FIU, and that's my dad and mom's alma mater. So like
That's so dope. That's
I
so
got it,
dope.
I got it in the car with my dad after a 7-on-7 tournament. That was one of the days to remember in my life. That was the start of it
Because
all.
you're going right. The list now is crazy. The list now is crazy, and it's going to
Yeah,
continue to get crazy. But it's dope that the second I asked you about that, your face lit up because you remember that exact moment when you got that first one.
yeah, and like that's something everybody kind of remembers because that's the moment that you realize that what you put into this game is starting to come back to you. And it was also just a more special moment for me that I was able to receive that from my parents' alma mater. That meant
Exactly.
that meant the world to me. But
I love that.
yeah. So that day will forever be one of those days that I remember.
Obviously, because we see a long rap sheet where we see, oh, he got offers from everybody, but then you still have that. I remember when I felt like, oh, I'm actually on the right track. You don't necessarily play the game for the compliments and whatnot, but it lets you know that the long nights, the studying, the film watching, the not going to parties because you got two a days or quarterback training, that it's all worth it and that it pays off. There's something else that happened recently too. You got when Rivals released their 2026 rankings, you got your first ranking, you got your 4 stars. What was that moment like for you? That's another your
That's
hard work starting to show.
that's another word, and yeah, it's something you always take in, and as you always take gratitude towards that. You always like thankful for what they kind of see in you, and that you're able to be on such a prestigious thing at such a high level. But it's like my dad always tells me, he's like, that stuff is all great, but you can't let off the gas now. It's
Yep.
time to press all the way down to keep head over toe, make sure you still on the right track, and make sure you never come off that gas pedal, because once you do, there might not be no ever going back. So you just gotta keep your head down. You gotta keep grinding the way you always grinded, and more will keep coming. And that's something he's always told me. Even though he loves rankings, he loves that he's able that I'm out there now, and I'm my what's I've been working on is kind of coming to show now. But there's always more to improve on. There's always more to work on, and more to
There's
grow
always
from.
the next goal, right? You get the 4 and it's like, well,
Always,
now I want the 5.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's like there's always a next goal, and then it's like, okay, so if you get the 5, am I the number one ranked though? Like there's
Yeah.
always,
There's
there's always something else to chase.
Yeah, and my dad has always said with the rankings and stuff. He said it's cool. It's really cool. Like he said, like he always says, he's thankful that all that happens and stuff like that. But he said when he was in high school, he was never ranked. So he said,
And
really, that
it
doesn't mean much. Obviously, you love to see it, but at the end of the day, if 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 you don't keep putting in what you put in to get there, those rankings don't mean anything.
Your dad
So,
gave buckets to plenty of dudes that were 5 stars in high school. Your
oh yeah,
dad, you know what I'm saying? Once he hit the league, he gave buckets to plenty of dudes that went to USC and that were 5 stars. And I guarantee you, when he was giving them work, not 1 second did it cross his mind. I wonder what he was ranked in high school. Like
yeah.
when he was tearing somebody up, I guarantee you he didn't care.
No, my dad didn't care. My dad didn't care who you were. He said he actually had a hit list because he wanted to be where those guys. He wanted to be in those people in that driver's seat. He wanted to be ranked. He wanted to have all that, and he wasn't. So he kind of had his own tour list, and he said every time he
Big
was,
old chip on his shoulder.
yeah, but every time he got in the game with one of those guys, he was like, yeah, I'm coming for you, and I mean, as a guy that is ranked, you have to kind of still feel the same way because now you have a
Yep.
target on your back. So, am I just gonna let people snipe me down, or am I gonna keep, or I'm gonna keep climbing?
Then
And
it's that when you hear people talking this, oh no, let me show you why I'm ranked. Let's not think I'm just I'm not a model here. I'm a quarterback. I do this. If I gotta prove to y'all why I am, I will prove that. I love that competitiveness. Like even from someone that has all those weapons around him, you would think, oh, he probably just because you're a very calm young man. So you probably think, oh, he real calm. He don't that fight, you got that dog that it's very linebacker. Like what's in here? It's very linebacker. It's not very quarterback.
I have it, but I show it when it's needed, and it's not always needed. Like, but
Yes.
you got to know how to control it and when you need it, when you don't need it, and how to use it. So it's always something that you got to keep within you so that you have it when you need it, and something to hold back against when you don't need. You
That's
don't need
that
to take unnecessary hits.
that's please. Please stop taking the unnecessary hits. But that's that ability to be a leader, right? To recognize that, all right, now I gotta be that dog now. Like they sometimes they need the smooth criminal. They need, all right, D is calm. We know we good, he calm. And then there's sometimes when they're not and they need you to be like, oh no, I'm turned up too. Don't worry about it. Like we're good. We're all here. And then there's those times when everyone else is turned up and on edge, and you gotta be that cool, calm. Hey, everybody relax. Like we
Yeah,
got this. It's
you
four
gotta
quarters.
you got to be that flat line because sometimes
Yep.
it's highs and lows. And as a quarterback with that sort of leadership put on your shoulders, you got to be that flat line. And you don't really come off of it much. You come off of it to make sure that guys that are maybe down here come back up to
Can
here.
come back up.
But you got to be that sort of like calm flat line guy that doesn't let stuff around you change how you play or how you are acting,
Hey,
stuff like that. So
talk to somebody at Heritage. Give me a helmet. This boy got me ready to play. Get somebody a I got probably like 2 games left in this body. Like, I probably got a hot 2. I got 3 catches, no yak. I got 3 catches. I I got 3 catches for you.
like
That's it. And then I'm setting up the wheel route for somebody else. That's
like
it. After that,
a Tyler
after
Lockett,
that, natural rub routes, baby. Natural rub routes after that.
like a Tyler Lockett, get in, get down. I ain't getting
Hey, I'm
nowhere.
trying to
Down
them old school Rams receivers like Torrey Holt used to catch that post and lay down.
possession.
Man, my dad used to hate that though. When I play receiver, he used to hate that. He would tell me that stepping out of bounds, he used to because he was always big on competing. Like even when I returned, he would ask me, why you afraid to catch that?
Mhm.
Because so and so said so. He's like, so you're not gonna compete. You're not. You just go, okay. Now, like a fair catch, but that was his whole thing was compete on
Yeah,
every single play. Why step out of bounds? You could have got 3 more yards. See, then y'all went 3 and out after that, and it was a 3rd and 3. If you got that 3 yards on that other catch,
you wouldn't
y'all
be
probably
there.
would have. It was that he always had that mindset compete because you never know. You never know what extra yard is the one y'all need, and what yard you left on the field was the one y'all really needed when the game is over. So he always preached compete. He literally actually used to get mad at me for fair catching. He'd tell me,
Yeah,
like, why? Because if he's not in my face, he'd say, why are you not competing? I don't understand. You can flip field position as a. So he always looked at the game like that. Like, not competing just for stats, but it was, why would you not get just 10 yards on the return that helps, the offense and the quarterback out? So it was, don't stop competing because somebody else is relying on you in this game. Whether that's the quarterback who needs a short field, the defense who desperately needs field position flip because they're tired of short fields. There's that competitiveness that clearly you guys have at American Heritage.
no, yeah, that's something that Coach Mike, always makes sure that there's a fight, no matter who we're playing against. Maybe we're playing against somebody that's not as great. Like we got to make sure we come out there and play up to our standard. We need to come out there. If they're not great, we need to get out there, get it done quick, and
Take care of
and
business.
and take care of business, keep it rolling. And like it shouldn't be you play down to their level because we're
Yep.
playing. So yeah, so that's something Coach Mike always brings up to us before we play either a good or really a bad team or a really good team. But that's always something in the back of our head at American Heritage that we need to always play up to our standard and never to somebody else's.
Do you regardless? It don't matter who else is on the other side of the field. You show up and be Diabell for 4 quarters.
It's,
It don't matter.
it's
It
you
don't matter
versus
who it is.
it's us versus us most of the
I
time.
absolutely love that mentality.
There's a
See,
lot of
y'all, I was wondering like how they build this kind of powerhouse. I see now. I see now. Y'all are
us.
building monsters over there.
It's I mean honestly, because there's games where people say that they shot themselves in the foot. That's why, like, if we always make sure that we beat us instead of making sure we have to beat them, not there's no shooting ourselves in the foot because we already
Everything else takes care of itself.
yeah.
And then there's that accountability y'all have too, where there ain't gonna be a bunch of shooting ourselves in the foot because everyone, offense and defense, is holding themselves accountable. Every running back, every offensive lineman, every receiver is coming back to that huddle going, hey, you should have got 3 more there. Like, we're
Yeah,
not going to talk about it no more, but I'm just saying that you could have gotten 3 more there. We're going to move on to the next play. Just so you know, though, like I like that accountability though, because like you said, it's us versus us. It's just you guys wanting to one up yourself. The end result is 34-0. Y'all done won. But the mindset is we have to outdo ourselves and uphold that standard at American Heritage. There is a lot of history behind that logo. So when you put that helmet on, there's a sense of pride each one of you guys have that's instilled from your coaches. And I absolutely love that. Bro, thank you so much for coming on. Easily one of my favorite recruits, regardless of class. But I think people who see my Twitter know the 2026 class who your boy is rocking with. Either way, you got a few games left in this season. Do you have an overall goal for yards or touchdowns for the rest of the year?
um I mean honestly we got one more regular season game and it's playoffs, but like I don't know if I have more team goals than I probably do
I
self
love
goals.
it.
Since it's because my first year starting. Obviously, you want to have the 2,000 plus passing yards. You want to have the probably 40 plus passing touchdowns. But not every game is going to swing your way, especially when if the passing game's not on and they're dropping 8, we got 3 rushing and we can hand the
You
ball
got
off. Like
you got
we
three
got
running backs.
3 running backs. So we could do whatever we really like. We like to, and so like obviously there's the numbers you like to have, but my main focus right now, especially as a first year starter, is I want to win a state championship. So
Let's go.
whatever I got to do to get that and to get where that is, I'm gonna do it.
Hey, and I think I speak for all of us when I say we are following this journey. So y'all got one more game, which is this going to be y'all's district game this week?
Yeah, it's another district game. We actually play tomorrow because it got moved up from a Friday to a
Ooh.
Thursday. So yeah, we play tomorrow.
If they stream that, shoot me that link because I definitely want to tap into that.
I will. I'll ask for it tomorrow.
Let them know where they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm going to link both of those in the comments. And I'm going to link his huddle too, because it's not just, so this is his season up to this point, but he also will put him game to game as well. So when if you're like, yeah, I wonder how Dia did last week. It's on his huddle. So I'm going to link that in the description so you can check that out as well.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I hadn't updated it. I hadn't put my last game in it, so you didn't get to see my last game. But on Instagram you can find me at DKB3, and it's not the number 3. I always tell people this. They think it's the number 3.
It's the full 3.
You gotta spell out 3. But on Twitter you can find me at Diabel3QB1, and those are actually numbers.
I'm gonna link those down there for anyone that's in the older age group that's going CBA. I don't type all this. I'm linking it down there. So all you gotta do is click it, and then you can go follow Lil Bro. Bro, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck for the rest of the season. You got that team goal, and we are all pulling up to see you accomplish it. And then at the end of the season, when you get your full season, we'll come back on. We'll do a recap of the full season just so we can ask, hey, how'd the playoffs go? How'd so-and-so go? And obviously keep up to date with some of these visits. The boy got more visits than anyone in the history of recruiting. So when we catch up, we'll be able to catch up with some of your visits, ask you, how some of those games were, because you're going to get to see some really cool games in person this year too. And that's obviously a part of your overall recruiting journey as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Brody. Like, share, and subscribe. Go follow Diabel right now. For those of you that were not familiar with him, you're going to want to keep up with him. So go follow his socials right now. We out.